Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Back of the Pack here on the Backmarkers Podcast, rated 5 stars on Apple Podcasts by E_Bluey. They say, I look forward to you guys' dumbass show every week, often finding them more entertaining than the races themselves. Thank you so much for the review, E_Bluey, and we're so glad to have you here with us. Anyways, today, ladies and gentlemen, is a very special episode of the Backmarkers Podcast, not just because we're doing the Midseason Awards, but more importantly, we have James Coker on the show, everyone.
Hello.
It is so good to have you here.
It's a real treat to be here. Real great to get the chance to talk to both with you, Zane, and also you, Graham, who, if I got to say, you are America's answer to Rocket Power Mohawk, and I love everything you do.
I get a more harsh version of that a lot of the time in my comment sections, but yeah, it's like, it'll either be like, oh, this guy copies him, or it's like, oh, well, Rocket Power's Mohawk's not posting, guess this guy will do. So I'll take all the little W's I can get. But yeah, in case
I meant that in the most complimentary way possible.
Oh no, I appreciate it. But yeah, to the audience, if I'd be very surprised if you know who Zane and I are and you don't know who James is, but very similarly to ourselves, James is a content creator, influencer, and generally just a very welcomed presence in the F1 and IndyCar and just motorsports communities in general. So be sure to check his stuff out, obviously. He's hilarious. But before we get to the awards, I want to talk a little about you, James. So
Sure.
You've only been producing motorsports content for the last few years, but you've been making content since before it was even called content. And you've always had a calling for the acting world. Now, you've made your YouTube debut back in 2010 with the sketch comedy series Skate City, and have since done a lot of other original series like The Other Kennedys, Trump Bros, a bunch of other stuff that I found. And I just want to hear about how it all began. Like, how did your upbringing and kind of passion for acting and theater transition into the world of the internet? Was it kind of just like, oh, this is a way for me to create fun stuff with my friends, or did you see the potential in it from the start?
I have to backtrack for a second and say I'm definitely not a welcome presence to some online if you read some of the comments on my videos. But 2010 is the earliest video that's currently there. I started posting stuff in like 2006, 2007, but that is no longer online because it was pretty bad, and I just didn't want there to be a physical record of it anywhere or digital. I grew up in Texas. I always had like an interest in like acting and performing, but didn't like really do much of it. I did a little bit of acting in like middle school. I was in like plays and stuff. And then I decided I wanted to play sports instead, even though I was fucking awful at all of them. And so in high school, I played lacrosse and hockey, and I sat on the bench playing both sports.
Rocking a sick mullet or something. You got to go with the
I had a
culture.
flow for sure.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. But I was studying business in college. I went to Rollins College in Florida, which is like a country club. It's not a good school. It's where like prep school rejects go to school. And it might be a good school now. It wasn't when I was there. And I told a story on Off Track with James Hinchcliffe and Alexander Rossi. Like a few months before I graduated from college, there was a film festival that came to our school called Campus Movie Fest. And this is before smartphones existed. This was 2007. They gave everybody a camera and a laptop for a week, and you went off and you made a short film. And at the end of the week, they screened all of the entries at a big screening in our gymnasium. And there were like, 500 people watching or whatever. And out of like 50 entries, I won like best comedy. And it was about this guy who wakes up one morning and thinks he's a hockey player from the 1970s. Named Tom Younghans, who was a real guy. Tom Younghans played in the NHL. And that's when I realized, and it won best comedy. And I had people like on campus, like quoting that short film at me. And it was just a really cool feeling to make a bunch of people laugh and make something that so many people like found joy in and thought was funny enough to quote back at me. So I decided I wanted to work in TV and film. I moved to New York. I started PAing on TV shows and movies while taking classes at UCB. studying improv and sketch comedy. And I started doing a lot of live performing, but also like writing and making videos at the same time. And that's just kind of where it all started.
Such a wholesome story, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect segue that's the perfect segue into the next question I've got here is you've got a load of experience in stand-up comedy as well. And looking at this from a more present day perspective, do you think there's a lot of influence from your stand-up career in your current content? Or I guess just like, did some of those vibes and energy crystals, shall we say, from that field make their way over to your work on social media nowadays? Or is that kind of just apples to oranges?
I did some stand-up, but I mainly did sketch comedy and improv. And I think what it really is when I stumbled into making motorsport content, I already had this skill set where I could write sketches and find funny takes on any subject matter, regardless of what it was. So I took what I had, the comedic voice I had sort of developed over a decade of performing in New York, and applied it to this very like super niche motorsport world. And it was, a lot of people would reach out to me and they're like, how do you come up with all this stuff? And it's like, I don't know. I've been doing this forever. This is just the first time I've ever had an audience. So usually I was making videos online forever, and it never really found a following until I started making stuff about F1.
So another thing I got to ask is, again, really good segue into here. You're doing all the work for me. It's kind of like a chicken and the egg type of question. So what came first? Like, have you been watching motorsports for a long time and then you were like, oh, let's use my skills there? Or did you it kind of sounds like you just got into it and you were like, hey, I have this experience making videos. I could make videos about this new hobby of mine.
I'm a super new fan. My wife and I watched Drive to Survive in 2023, early 2023. Before that, I never watched a race in my life. I never watched a NASCAR race. I never watched an IndyCar race. Like, I might have watched like a few minutes of the Indy 500 here and there, but like, I don't remember it. I had never really watched any motorsport at all. And the first race I ever watched was the 2023 Australian Grand Prix, which was the one that was red
that's
flagged.
A great one. That is a great
one. The one was red flagged, and like I think I was up till like 2 a.m. watching it because it took so long to finish.
Yep.
So like I'm a very, very new motorsport fan, and a lot of people are surprised when I tell them that, because I try to know a lot about Formula One because I've just watched a bunch of documentaries and read a few books, and I constantly go down like internet rabbit holes trying to learn as much as I possibly can about the series and the sport. But very, very new fan. And I really try not to project myself as anything other than a new fan that's really into it and trying to learn as much as possible.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's kind of like, I don't know, people get upset with new fans, and that's like one of the things that bugs me a lot about that side. I mean, not side of the community, just an aspect of motorsports. It feels like people try to gatekeep it a lot. And I love the growth. Like if I see someone like wearing a t-shirt for any Formula One team or anything in public, I just like to talk to them about it. Even if they don't really know what it is. Yeah. It's awesome.
I often try to chat up people and they're like, oh, you like F1? They're like, no, I just got this at Abercrombie.
Yep.
I'm like, okay,
don't get me started on that.
On a college campus. Oh, you can imagine.
But I understand. I also, at the same time, while like I don't love a lot of the gatekeepy comments and attitudes that I get towards both from my content and other creators' content who are maybe newer to the sport, I also understand it sometimes. Like, and I'll give you an example. Andre Dixon is a British content creator who is a on-camera host for DAZN, which broadcasts the NFL in the UK. And he's a very nice guy. I've never met him personally, but we've like exchanged messages on Instagram a few times. I remember the first few times I saw him and other British creators talking about the NFL. I was like, who are these fucking British people talking about American football? Who the fuck do they think they are? And it made me realize like that. And I feel like that was not a fair reaction to have, but it was like my instinctual reaction that reaction is probably what a lot of British people have when they hear an American talking about Formula One.
That's a very good example. Zane, how many NFL
Yeah.
players can you name?
Was there one called Beckham back in the day? Travis.
He could also bend it with the one-hand catch.
True.
Yeah, that's what I knew him for. But yeah, apart from that, NFL. Clueless,
Cultural
mate.
blind spot.
Well, why don't you lift up your shirt a little bit?
Repping today.
Oh, yeah.
We're both Knicks
Knicks, yeah.
fans.
Really?
So yeah, I don't know. It's just coincidence. We're both Knicks fans.
I grew up a Dallas Mavericks fan. I've become less so since they traded Luka Doncic away
That's
the way
very
that
fair.
the whole thing
Fair
went
enough,
happen.
yeah.
But I just can't believe they fumbled Brunson the way they did.
I know.
Yeah, it's a
I
big
love
loss.
Jalen Brunson.
I love Jalen Brunson currently.
Yeah. I mean, I still love him. I'm just
Yeah.
sad he's not a Maverick anymore.
No, yeah, that's
Yeah,
totally
nah,
fair.
Big fumble.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to go too far into an NBA rabbit hole. I'm sure we could talk for quite a while and educate
sure.
Zane on the NFL as well. But yeah, we're going to get into the midseason awards. And I know I made a video about this on my accounts, but I just thought it would be way better in the long form. And me and Zane came up with, what do we have, 9 categories here, I think?
Yeah.
Something like that.
9, yeah.
We've got a few. And the twist is we're going to nominate 4 things. And you, James, you pick the winner. We have no say in the matter until after you pick it, and then we can argue with you if we'd like.
Okay, great.
You can
Let's do it.
also pick something that's not nominated to win if you feel that's
Great.
appropriate. So,
Love it.
Zane, tell us that first category.
So the first mid-season award, let's say, is the most satisfying podium result. So not just like the whole podium in general, but just like a single individual driver's result.
Well,
and we've got
that's
4
easy.
nominees for this.
You can tell me the nominees, but I already know the answer.
Yeah, we tried to come up with some other contenders. But yeah, Graham, do you want to do like 2 each? I can go with the first one.
Nah, we can just switch back and forth from the categories. You got it.
Yeah, go on. Okay. The first one in Canada, Russell P1. Second nominee again in Canada, Antonelli third.
Mm-hmm.
Third nominee in Great Britain, Hulkenberg third. Or it's a bit of a push. Japan, Verstappen P1.
We ran
It's
out
just
of
so
ideas.
emotional. It was just so emotional to see Max Verstappen on a podium once again. It has to be Nico Hulkenberg.
Of course.
I mean, I think it's the same reason why last year it was Lewis winning at Silverstone. It was like the emotion and the human storytelling component behind it. Like, last year when you saw Lewis finally win again, and he had, I think, had like a 3-year streak without winning a race. You saw how much it meant to him, even though he's like won 7 championships. And you see Hulkenberg, who's been in the sport forever
Yep.
Yeah.
and never really had an opportunity to compete with a top team. And for that reason, never been able to really fight for podiums. It has to be Nico.
Yeah, I won't put up a fight there, but I will say last year you're taking Lewis over Charles and Monaco.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Charles and Monaco was great.
Yeah, those are two
I think
beasts.
I think the difference for Charles and Monaco is once he had it on pole, barring like any sort of disaster, you knew he was probably going to win. And like, yes, that could happen with Ferrari's history, but I feel like him getting on pole and then sort of racing in what essentially is a procession, it was a little anticlimactic, even though it was super emotional for him to finally win Monaco.
That's a good point. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, so first winner, Hulkenberg P3. Pretty obvious
No doubt.
one there. You knew it from the start. Second category, we've got craziest crash with an asterisk on it because I think a couple of these aren't actually crashes per se. Anyways, I'm just going to get into them. Number 1, Haas synchronized spin at Silverstone. Number 2, Oscar versus Lando contact in Canada. Number 3, Jack Doohan DRS Open incident in Japan FP2. And then 4th, Verstappen slamming into Russell in Spain.
What was the category?
Craziest crash with an asterisk because the Haas one is a spin and not a crash.
I mean, the Haas one was amazing, but I think it's the Norris Piastri because it's the first real dust up we've seen between the two in this like championship fight this year. And I actually saw it happen right in front of me because I was at Montreal.
Oh yeah, that's right. Where were you sitting?
Watching,
were you in the front straight?
I was in the paddock building at the start finish line.
Oh,
so I was like, I was watching like from the paddock club, and it happened right in front of me. It was the coolest.
That's insane. I feel like there may be some personal bias there then, but I can get down with it. I just personally, Verstappen, Russell, my jaw does not drop very often when I'm watching Formula One racing, especially. My jaw was on the floor.
I will say, like, I'm not the type of person that like wants to see a crash in racing like that. You know, a lot of people say, oh, people watch NASCAR, people watch races because they want to see crashes. Like that's not what I'm hoping for. I do love the chaos that like a wet weather race brings, but like I don't get any joy in seeing people crash.
No, I completely understand that. I'm kind of like I'm somewhere in the middle because like.
Yeah.
A crash at face value means the race is going to get crazier probably. But I mean, yeah, whenever I see someone go out who is, you know, fighting for a win, and especially when it was, I don't know, just the Max Verstappen thing was so polarizing. Just everything about it was insane. And so personally, I would say Verstappen, Russell for the crazy factor. But yeah, Oscar versus Lando was definitely a like big pivot in the story of the season.
Yeah. Zane, what was your pick?
Yeah, I mean, I see both of your opinions. Like, I think the whole Piastri and Norris thing, that's more crucial because they were like fighting for like, you know, like decent points at the end of the day. However, the Verstappen Russell was just entertaining, if you know what I mean. Like, it just seemed out of nowhere. Like, it was totally unnecessary. So I think if we're going like most significant crash, then I'm saying like obviously Oscar Lando. But then in terms of like craziness, I just think the Verstappen one is just bonkers. Like, I just can't. I still just can't understand why.
Yeah, I can see that crash eventually. You know, maybe being at the beginning of a Max Verstappen edit over his whole career or something. I think it'll have a nice life in the hands of content creators and editors. But yeah,
like the Simply Lovely thing.
True. Yeah.
Also, like the whole crash wasn't even his fault. It's Red Bull's fault for telling him to give the position back.
Well, I mean, I am a believer that he drove straight into George Russell on purpose.
Yeah. No, he did. But the reason he got all mad, I think, was because they told him to give the position back, right?
Yeah, and then after the race, it turns out they didn't have to do that.
He didn't need to. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They should have just let him race. I don't know.
Yeah, such a banter era for Max Verstappen at this point.
Oh, the Max and George beef being reignited was such a great time.
Yeah.
Because it's never anything but them just going to the media and just meh. That's all, and then it finally culminated on track. And I was like, it's actually real.
Finally.
They've got to hate each other, right? I mean, I know like publicly they talk shit about one another. And I know sometimes you see that, but then they're like, oh, they're actually friends in real life. I feel like they're not though.
Yeah, nah.
No, I agree. I feel like there's a spectrum of Formula One drivers, and I don't even know how to categorize it, but I just feel like George is over here and Max is all the way over here. I feel like they can't be friends. There's no way.
I feel like a lot of drivers are probably friends with both of them, but they don't.
Yeah, there's like
mingle with one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like everyone wants to be on like the good side of both of them because Verstappen, like, you don't want to be on his bad side, obviously, and Russell, he's just sort of just like, you know what I mean? It just seems like if you go against him, he's just going to gossip about you and he's just going to waste your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is a chatter. I will agree there. George Russell loves the media pen.
He loves the media. Yeah. Or his best mates over there.
Like, I was watching the Dan Ticktum Instagram story from after Spain when George was like, well, the only other person that would do that is Dan Ticktum. And he just loves dragging people into the fight. Yeah.
Oh my God. Ticktum also has a mouth on him though, because like Ticktum talks shit about all the Formula One drivers as well. I remember after he won in Formula E this year. This is like his first Formula E race win. He was like, there's only 2 drivers who are better than me, or he said there's only like 2 other drivers better than me, and that's Max Verstappen and one other Formula One driver or something like that. He essentially said that he's better than 18 of the drivers on the Formula One grid.
I like a character like that. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I like a nice villain.
Good for TV.
Yeah.
No, he like loves playing the heel, and he leans into it, and he's like very entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. He plays a good villain.
Yeah. One really good thing about him are his radio messages. Talking about radio messages, this brings us on to our next award. It's the biggest radio crash out. Okay, and we had a couple this season, well, half season.
I'm glad that the Ferrari fan is doing this category.
Yeah, shut up, man. Shut up. Yeah. It's going to be tough to get through. So starting off number 1, Ferrari, obviously with the must be water situation.
Classic.
Number 2, Ferrari again. Leclerc with his monologue in Hungary. I'm not going to read it out because I literally hear it.
Are you talking about the CVS receipt of a radio message?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the never-ending message. Number 3, Ferrari again. Lewis Hamilton in Miami with the "Should I let Sainz by" as well. And then number 4, we finally move away from Ferrari and we go to McLaren with Oscar Piastri having a little dig at Alpine in Austria, saying, and I'm going to do the accent here as well, "Alpine still managed to find a way to fuck me over all these years later."
That's a pretty good Australian accent.
I was going to say the opposite.
I'll take it.
All right, James, what are we going with here?
I think I'm going to go for the super long CVS receipt / Star Wars crawl.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had seen the Star Wars scroll.
So I actually made the Star Wars scroll before that other one came out.
Really?
So yeah, I posted a photo on Threads of like the side-by-side comparison of a CVS receipt and that radio message. And then one of my followers said, please make this into a Star Wars crawl. And I turned it into like a Star Wars crawl on some like meme website. And then the next day, some other account did it. And did they see me do it? I don't know. I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Share the wealth. What do you think, Zane? What do you think? I want to hear your opinion first.
I think the water one, just because it was funny, and Leclerc's response to it saying, "Let's add that to the words of wisdom." For me, it was just, although it was frustrating to hear and just like, God, like this is the nightmare that I live. That's what I was thinking in the moment. When I looked back, and after I calmed down a little bit, I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. So I like that one, to be honest.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that might be the greatest Ferrari radio message of all time. Because, like, I mean, we've had loads of good ones. I mean, we've got "I am stupid." I mean, what are the ones that the engineers have said? Because I feel like there's so many, but "Must Be the Water" has to be at the top.
We are checking on it.
Yeah, "We Are Checking," of course. Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, "We Are Checking" was like a recurring one.
Stay out, stay out, stay out. That's another classic.
Yeah. Was that not Alfa Romeo though?
No, that was Monaco 2022. Charles.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking of Kimi when he was.
What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
That's a classic.
That was tough. That was sad.
The Lewis one I think is underrated though, because also right in the midst of all that, we got the should I have a tea while you're at it? I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that one.
Yeah, what was the exact quote? I don't remember.
I think it was more or less that, like, oh, should we have a cup of tea while we're at it or something?
Yeah, that was bad. But I'm gonna agree with James here. The monologue, just the fact that it went off the TV screen, I've never seen that in my entire time of watching Formula One, and that is just so funny. And he was on pole. He was on pole at Monaco without walls.
Honestly,
that's what they call
given
it.
The context, it was such a valid crash out as well. Such a valid crash out.
Leclerc monologue takes the W. Next one, pretty straightforward here. Rookie of the Year so far. Now we've got 4 nominees. Obviously, there's more. We've got Kimi Antonelli, Isaac Hadjar, Gabriel Bortoleto, Fernando Alonso.
I mean, if you'd asked me in like the first 6 races, I'd say Kimi Antonelli hands down. But his performances dropped off a bit. since like the first 8 races or so. But I still think Kimi's had a better season than anyone else out of all the rookies.
Interesting take. I feel like I don't hear that very much.
I think the problem was he was like a victim of his own success, where like he finished in the top 6 in like the first like 4 or 5 races or something like that. And at that point, the expectations got so high. People were like, oh, he's going to be battling for podiums by halfway through the season. And that's just going to be the start of a super successful career. I think if he had started like finishing just out of the points or just into the points, then having the performance he's having now, people would be like, all right, he's adjusting, whatever. I don't know, but that's just like my opinion.
No, that's a good point. It's very recency bias heavy when talking about rookies, just because there's so little to go off of.
But like what Isaac Hadjar's done in like a racing bowl has been super impressive at the same time, super composed.
Yeah, I feel like all of them have had sort of like their blips, whether they be good blips or bad blips. Like Kimi Antonelli had like them 2 races where he like got like 2 DNFs in a row or something. Like granted, like they weren't completely like his fault most of the time, but he did have some sort of like low points this season. Same with Bortoleto as well, but like the opposite way, he started off like very mid, like he wasn't doing that much, and then like obviously like the Sauber is like obviously a decent car now. A lot higher than we thought when we checked the standards the other day. But yeah, and I think like recently, like he's had like a really high point. So it's hard to tell on Hadjar. Like he seemed, in my opinion, if we were ignoring the first race, the more consistent and like the more consistently sort of like overachieving the car, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
But this changes constantly the whole rookie debate. Like I think like at one point Kimi was my best one, then Bortoleto, then Hadjar. So yeah, I struggle to give an answer for this one.
It is hard. It is very hard to say. I would personally go and just from the heart, I got to go with Hadjar. Just because I feel like every rookie has ups and downs, but Isaac Hadjar has had the longest up, I guess. I know he crashed in Silverstone, and like there's definitely been some problems. He's gotten beaten by Lawson.
Also crashed in his very first race. Like what a terrible way to start your career.
Yeah.
And we all remember the moment with like Lewis Hamilton's dad, but like he bounced back and he's been incredibly resilient.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Crying on your first race, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad that they were putting cameras on him for that whole thing. That was kind of my whole argument with that is like, yeah, like it's easy to make fun of him for crying, but what are you going to do if you're like, there's cameras everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
But Fernando Alonso, man, what a season. Zane, we discussed this when we were planning this. He was going to laugh, and then you were going to be like, why are you laughing? And you didn't do it.
No, sorry, man. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, it just flew over my head. I was like, Alonso, I just took it for granted that he was a rookie, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, of course.
Anyway, moving on to the next category. And this is honestly the worst category name and the longest category name I've ever heard of. Okay. Prepare yourself, James. This is going to be, you have to like intake this very deeply, okay?
Let's do it.
This is the award for the Not Looking Good award for the driver with the sketchiest contract situation of the season. Candidate number 1, Yuki Tsunoda. Given his recent performance, is it sort of like in the air, his contract situation? Yeah. Number 2, George Russell, arguably resolved at this point. Number 3, Colapinto, doesn't seem like fully solid. And then number 4, Liam Lawson, recent speculation.
I think it's got to be Colapinto because he's on like a limited race, like race by race basis contract. And Alpine is so cutthroat. And I've already talked about replacing him with, Paul Aaron or Valtteri Bottas or someone. So it's got to be him. Like we don't know whether Colapinto has 1 race left in him or he's going to finish the rest of the season.
I feel like I saw somewhere that he was going to finish the season, but I mean, I don't know. You can't believe anything you read. So I'm going to also agree.
I know.
That's the correct answer, yeah. Like Colapinto, yeah, easy.
Yeah, 3 wrong answers there and a right answer. Not much else to say. It sucks that Colapinto got thrown into this car that is, at this point, by far and away, the worst on the grid. People like to compare 2024 and 2025. I don't know if I said this on the podcast or in a video. I don't remember. Zane, you can tell me to shut up if I already said it on the podcast. But I like 2025 so much is because there
Shut
are
up,
no
man.
back
Yeah,
markers.
shut up. Honestly, shut up.
Actually,
I'm
okay.
joking.
No, I love that the midfield is so tight, and like there's no back markers except for Alpine at this point. But towards the beginning, it was 7th through 10th was an all-out battle between like 13 cars. It was awesome.
Yeah. Alpine is starting to sort of drift away now. I think they're on 20 points, and there is a bit of a gap from 9th. So, yeah, not looking good for Alpine.
Yeah. Next category, good segue here. Most underwhelming constructor. We have Haas, Alpine, Red Bull, Williams.
It's got to be Alpine.
Underwhelming. You think Red Bull has a shot?
To be underwhelming? I mean, they're all underwhelming at this point. But, I mean, if we're just talking about performance, it's got to be Alpine, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking more like subjectively, I guess.
Meaning
I know.
According to expectations?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the standings, it's getting to the point where we always talk about the top 4 teams, but Red Bull's starting to drift so far off in the top 4. Where it's like, are they really top 4 teams, or is it top 3 teams? And are we going to start grouping Red Bull with whoever's in 5th right now? Which is like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What a time we live in, James. I can't believe it. Just think of 2023. You started watching the sport. All you knew was Max Verstappen, and maybe you got so you started watching in Australia. You got one Sergio Perez in 2023.
Yeah, that season was Checo won 2, I believe, and Carlos Sainz was the only person who was a non-Red Bull driver to win, and that was at Singapore. And then Max won everything else. He won like the lion's share of races that season. And then 2024, my opinion, banger of a season.
Oh,
he had like 7 different
sick,
race winners from like 4 different constructors. And I thought we were going to get more of that this year, but not the case.
Yeah, I even as a McLaren fan, I'm kind of bummed. I won't lie. I said this to Zane, and you got not mad, but you were in a bit of disbelief. I said I'd rather McLaren lose in a close title fight than win in a dominant fashion. I'd rather see a 6-car championship fight.
I mean, as a fan, if there aren't any stakes, like what is keeping you emotionally involved in watching a sport?
Exactly. I wholeheartedly agree. Zane Zane did not agree. He was like, if Ferrari were to win every race, I'd still be happy.
My main argument here in this case was that when you've been deprived for that long, okay, you just get so down bad that you'd be happy for that. You'd be happy to watch such a boring season just to see your team win again.
Yeah, but it's all about the law of diminishing returns. Like if you just get win after win and championship after championship, each one subsequently means less.
Yeah, I agree. So let's say Ferrari in 2026 was to get insane and win every single race. I'd be happy with that. 2027, however, I think, okay, let's give some of the other teams a chance.
Oh, how kind of you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
There's no victory against an unworthy adversary, Zane. I'm not happy that McLaren's dominating. Anyways, in terms of domination, Zane, take away this next category.
Yeah, well,
this is a dumb category. Why did we make this one?
Honestly, I'll just say it, but I feel a bit embarrassed asking this question. The most overachieving constructor, doing a bit of a switcheroo from the previous question. We've got Stake, Kick, Sauber, Formula One team, Racing Bulls, McLaren, or Aston Martin. And I think similar to sort of underwhelming, I think we're going to have sort of the criteria for overachieving as just sort of doing better than we originally thought at the beginning of the season, maybe.
I mean, I don't know if that was an option, but Williams, I think, is because of nobody expected them to be 5th in the standings right now.
That is true.
That's valid, yeah.
Yeah, Williams is not a nominee, but you have every right to say it. And that is...
Thank you.
That is a fair answer, honestly. Yeah. It's a shame that Albon had the triple DNF. That was rough. But yeah, I feel like as of late, they've kind of been struggling a little bit. But the beginning of the season for them was incredible. And I mean, they were beating Ferrari. That was
they were faster now, some real pace.
Yeah, it was hilarious. That was in my last YouTube thumbnail, which was 4 months ago. But Yeah,
It's
it
like,
was
what
a
is
good
it,
time.
1992?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's the 80s again, and I'm here for it, honestly. Next one. Oh, I like this category. Best commentators / pundit. And again, only have 4 nominees. You can say whoever you want. We've got Martin Brundle, Bernie Collins, David Coulthard, Nico Rosberg, and honorable mention Will Buxton in IndyCar.
I like all of them, but I will say, I like David Coulthard a lot, but recently it's been Nico Rosberg because he's like just been completely unfiltered and somehow has like a power dynamic at Sky. And someone speculated it's because he can speak so many languages. They like need him to be able to like jump from like so many different broadcasts because he's so multilingual, and the fact that he has the pedigree of being a former Formula One champion. But like, I feel like very few presenters, pundits, analysts could get away with asking the questions that he asks.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't care. And I love it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he's just a Monaco-based YouTuber who beat Lewis Hamilton in Equal Machinery. I mean, that's all he is. He's not here to commentate. He doesn't care. This is just a side hustle for him.
No, but he asked all the right questions, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's all strategic. The way that he asks the question as well, like, keeps him safe, but it just comes across so unfiltered. And he just gets us to like hear the answers that we want to hear as well.
But DC is also very funny.
Yeah,
And
I love DC on F1 TV.
He's great. There was actually a funny DC radio message that I found when we were talking about radio messages. When he was in a Red Bull at what I think is the Canadian Grand Prix, the engineer asked, "How's the car?" He said, "Not good, doesn't turn, won't stop, no traction. Apart from that, it's great."
I can hear the Scottish accent already. Oh, that's so good. But yeah, David Coulthard's great. I think it's between him and Nico Rosberg for me, because Nico Rosberg, like, he could be a journalist, because like the whole strategy with a good like interview, like interrogation style, is you got to hit the 2 jabs and then you hit the uppercut, and then 2 more jabs and then boom. And that's what he does. He'll bring something up with Jos Verstappen and then drop the bomb. I don't remember what he said because I don't watch Sky, but he dropped some bombshell and Jos was just like silent.
He said, "You're quiet." He said, "You're quiet now. You're quiet now that Horner's gone."
That was it, yeah.
Yeah.
Josh wasn't going to respond, and Nico goes, "So you're quiet now that he's gone." And Jos Verstappen just didn't know. Yeah.
But it's just the fact that he's got that pedigree. So like, he can get away with saying that. If that was to be anyone else that hasn't won a championship and hasn't been like a successful Formula One driver, I feel like they'd struggle to be able to say them kind of stuff. So yeah, big Nico Rosberg win. I love that.
I will say the one time I cringed last year was when Max Verstappen ran over a bollard. I forget what race it was. I think it might have been Miami. And David Coulthard said, "Cone lives matter."
Ugh. Oh, David.
Pretty brutal.
I've used, I think for the last 2 Austrian Grand Prix videos that I've done, both times I have used a David Coulthard radio out of context to start the video. In 2024, it was, or not radio, just a call. In 2024, it was, it opened with Lewis is going, "I'm coming." And then 2025, and then 2025, it was Lando versus Oscar. Oscar's trying to chase Lando down, and Lando like starts throwing down purples or something. And then David Coulthard's like, "Oh, Lando's definitely not just stroking it home." And I used that as the opener.
I feel like there was a running joke on F1 TV that we don't know about where they tried to make as many innuendos as possible, and then they were told to stop doing it. Because last year there was Alex Brundle was doing this, where he was he's like, I think this weekend the Ferraris are going to come good. And then he said something along the lines of another team. He's like, "I think this team is going to edge the rest of the competition." And I think they were like doing that to mess with each other. And then people started like reposting it and they were told to stop.
You're like, yeah, you got to cut this out. Like it's catching a little too much fire right now.
They're getting too many clips for showing up on Formula Cum's Instagram page.
Dude, NASCOM is all of those accounts are
so good,
so fun. I feel like I'm 12 again when I'm watching those videos. It's just, I can't help but laugh, and I miss the old NASCAR commentary team. Zane, I don't mean to throw you out into the ocean here, but Darrell Waltrip and just all those guys, just hearing them, oh, it was so perfect. It was so perfect. I loved it. And I wish this is a message for the Formula Cum admin. You need to get on your shit, dude. I need more of that. I need some summer break content. So clip that, send it to him on Instagram. We need more content. So speaking of cum, the next category is going to be juiciest drama.
Oh, no.
What a segue.
Can't carry on like this. Well, James, welcome to your first sort of like joining in with us and probably the last episode ever of the Backmarkers Podcast.
This is the backshots portion of the Backmarkers Podcast.
Oh, don't give us ideas. You can't give us ideas like this, James. You can't give us ideas. We're going to end up on Twitter. All right, Zane, take away juiciest drama.
Juiciest drama. God. Number 1, Horner being fired. Okay. Number 2, the Sonoda and Lawson swap. But that seems like ages ago as well. Anyway, number 3, Max to Mercedes rumours with the whole sort of like Sardinia thing as well. And then finally, Russell and Verstappen saga, like we briefly stroked on earlier.
We can't start doing this, Zane. We can't start doing this. You little scallywag, dude. Golly.
I will say that on paper you'd think it'd be Horner, but I think in the context in which he was fired, it was for performance. It wasn't for the scandal that happened. Makes it less of a juicy scandal. I think the juiciest scandal out of those 4 options had to be Max potentially going to Mercedes. And that is because of the potential that it had to totally shake up the F1 grid. Because if Max went to Mercedes, you would assume that means he's taking Russell's seat, because Kimi is this prodigy that they've been, for lack of a better term, grooming to become the next big thing in the sport.
Okay, I'm locked in. Let's go.
And so you would assume that would mean Max is taking Russell's seat, because you also would never have a reality where George Russell and Max Verstappen existed on the same team. It just wouldn't happen. It'd be a mess similar to what we saw with Prost and Senna with McLaren in the late 80s. They would just be at each other's throats. So if Max were to go to Mercedes and take Russell's seat, where does that leave Russell? Where does he go? Like, probably not Red Bull. I don't know. And I just feel like that domino falling would shuffle up the entire grid in a way that I think most of us can't even imagine.
It was sort of like the Cuban Missile Crisis in a lot of ways.
That is, it was avoided, I guess. Well, it didn't happen. I don't know, man. But I remember saying we were talking about this like, a month ago or whenever it happened. My whole, processing time is so off during the summer break. Like I can't even remember when the Russell drama ended. But you were saying, you were like, all right, George is going to Aston Martin, Lance is retiring, Newey's going there, Jonathan Wheatley's going there, like everyone's going to Aston Martin. And you had this Red Bull safe haven. You had Hannah Schmitz going there too. That was like your whole thing. And I don't know. I wanted to remind you that you said that.
If Verstappen was to go, I'll stand on business. I'd still reckon that would have been like the most feasible thing. Like Russell to Red Bull, that would have never happened. Where else would he have gone to? Like, even if, let's say, Red Bull would then try and snatch up Piastri, which people were saying, and that leaves a space up in McLaren, I don't think they'd want to have sort of like a Norris and Russell thing going on anyway. So for me, the most logical thing, like the weakest link there For me, it was Aston Martin. Originally, I thought Alonso retire and maybe it just like works out in time. But then I thought, because it was at the same time that sort of like Stroll was saying that he was unhappy with his engineers, he was just unhappy, he was just like in a bit of a shit run of form as well. And that's when I thought Russell could he could slip his way into either one of them two.
Dude.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I stand on business. If it was happened, that's what I reckon would have happened.
Fair enough. I actually, this is a very random one-off topic. I was reminded not too long ago of the Regina George sounding ass Lance Stroll radio. The pit confirm button is the okay button, Brad. I completely forgot about that radio message, and it has become one of my favorites in the past couple weeks. Just because I'm like, that is so funny. Like, there are so many levels of humor to that radio message. So, yeah. Is this the last category?
This is indeed.
All right, the grand-ish finale. Let's get into it. Funniest moment of the season. Big award here. Number 1, Hulkenberg forgetting his helmet in the cooldown room at Silverstone. Number 2, Isaac Hadjar mocking Charles Leclerc and going, "That's yeah." I don't know if you've seen that clip, James. Have you not?
No.
Oh, no.
Maybe.
Okay, number 3, the Miami Lego race. Number 4, double nominee, Leclerc words of wisdom. So before you choose, we need to find this Isaac Hadjar clip real quick.
I think I heard it. I don't think I clocked that he was making fun of Leclerc though.
Well, so it was in Canada, Q3, and
Okay,
Leclerc loses it out of 6, like loses the rear, but Hadjar was like over, like on the side, like pulled off, like on the side of the road, like letting him through. And then on the radio, Charles is like, "Hadjar, dirty air, like that's why I lost the rears." And then Isaac was like trying to mock Charles's accent, and he was like, "Dirty air." I don't know. It was really funny, and it was like around a bunch of the drivers too, and everyone lost it.
Okay, that's funny.
I think it's pretty
However, no, that's funny. I would say that it's got to be the Lego race.
I also agree. There's no contest.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made you smile watching it as well.
Yeah, I've never seen any of those drivers that happy ever.
Especially the Ferrari boys.
In their lives. Like in any public facing moment, I've never seen them express that much joy.
The video was cut together so well too. Like the full video. It was just hard cut to Lewis and Charles just going like that. Oh, everything was so perfect.
Yeah.
So
I feel bad for the guys who didn't get to drive.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I guess it was fun still being a passenger and like filming it, but like, I don't know.
Oh, that was so good. Who ended up winning? Was it Gasly and Doohan? I think.
Didn't they crash?
I don't remember.
Or they cheated or something. I can't remember, but yeah.
I don't remember. But that was just such a great marketing scheme / driver's parade. That needs to happen every year at Miami. Yeah. Every year.
Or just make that Monaco. Monaco, they race in Lego cars.
That would also be super cool. Maybe like shave down the tires so that there's no traction, and just maybe put a little bit more power behind them. But they do have to go bobsled style and still have one, maybe driver changes, kind of like WEC or something. That could be cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll have like obstacles as well.
Yeah, they could have banana peels and stuff too.
Right.
You know that there was a Formula One, like a Mario Kart style Formula One game on the Wii?
Dude, I could get up and run to the other room and grab my copy for the Xbox 360, F1 Race Stars.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And Hayden, who I used to host the WTF1 podcast with, like swears by that game. And I'm like, why do they not have an easy, like entry, like easy to learn, easy to play F1 style video game? Because F1 25 is like it's a chore just to be proficient at, not even be good at.
That is true. That is very true. I think, have you heard of F1 Clash? That little iPhone game?
Yeah, but you don't control it. It's just like a strategy game.
Yeah,
that is true. I love F1 Race Stars, even though I will say when you go and select the drivers, I mean, it was like however many years ago. If you click on Sergio Perez or like Kamui Kobayashi, you will get a very racist like "let's go" when, yeah, it's bad.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yikes.
they can learn from their mistakes. If I would love to get another edition of like a remastered F1 Race Stars because it's really fun. I would recommend anyone to look up some gameplay of it. It looks kind of silly.
You could also just have
awesome.
you could also have like a Lego F1 racing game, and like that's it. You know,
that would be so cool.
Sick, yeah.
I miss the greatness of the Lego games, just their peak, like Lego Batman, Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones.
Lego Star Wars is good.
Yeah, Lego Star Wars. I was gonna say this. I got the Skywalker Saga. I play that like monthly, but it's good.
I haven't played the new one. I just played the old one, like the complete saga.
Yeah, classic. Yeah. Damn, the memories.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it for the categories. That's it for the whole show. Everybody, well, I guess me and Zane, give a round of applause for James.
W wheel knowledge, bro.
W wheel knowledge, bruh. I don't know if you're in tune with our show, but we very heavily dislike when people say wheel knowledge because it's like,
oh, I have no wheel knowledge, so.
But
great.
let's just say ball knowledge. Let's not try to sound cool. That's our whole like outlook on it. We're just like, why are you saying like? Do hockey fans say, "Do you know puck, bruh"? Like I don't understand. So we like to poke fun at W wheel knowledge, L wheel knowledge.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
W wheel knowledge, James. You do have wheel knowledge. I can assure you. And no, in all seriousness, we really appreciate you being our first guest on the show. It has been
first guest.
We've had some guest troubles in the past couple weeks, and you are number one. So
damn.
And you'll always be. You have that title forever. First guest on the
Honor and
Backmarkers
privilege.
Podcast. So maybe we'll send you a little medal or something. Zane, you do the outro. You always do it.
So yes, thank you, James, for joining us, and thank you guys for listening to us. Make sure if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, to rate us or whatever. Leave us a nice comment if you want to get featured at the beginning of the show. Also on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, mention how much we love James's hat right now, looking super sexy. So yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye, everyone.